How's it going, everybody? This is Poppin' Fresh, recording a Teambuilder. I guess a little battle review too for week 3 of season 2 of the VBL-S. So, from what we can see here, I'm gonna mute this so I can think better. So, what we see here, this was my matchup this week for me versus Shadow. Spoiler, I'm recording this after the fact. I was gonna do it earlier, but it's been a very busy week. So, looking at our teams, I have it sorted from by speed tiers. So up there at the top, he's got Raikou, Torn, Mienshao, Entei, all that fun stuff. And so looking at this team, he doesn't actually, I think his only Trick Room setter was Articuno. And I feel like he probably would want something a little bulkier to make sure you get the Trick Room off. So I didn't think Trick Room was going to be the way he was going. So fine by me. I mean, oh shit. Oh, what's up, cat? You guys get to see my cat. This is Mowgli. He's a good boy. But, oh, come on, man. What's going on with my music? Anyways, music or no music. So, looking at his team, considering the fact that he doesn't have many guys that are good in Tailwind, or Trick Room, and he has Torn T for a Prankster Tailwind, I figured that's what he was going to be doing. So, I was considering that when I made my team. There's not really a way to stop Tornadoes from getting up Tailwind, honestly. You can fake it out, taunt it. What if it has Mental Herb? Then it does it next turn anyways, so it doesn't really matter. So I figured, might as well fight Tailwind with Tailwind. So. There's a lot of noise going on in this house today, man. But, yeah, so fight Tailwind with Tailwind. So I decided I would want to lead Latias with something that can take advantage of Tailwind and do damage to a good amount of his team. So looking at what he has, I had expected him to bring pretty much these top 5 plus Clefable. I was expecting Entei because based on what he did the last couple weeks, he'd use Weakness Policy Entei to deal just shitloads of damage, and I mean, it would have dealt a good amount of damage here, but I see why in the end he didn't end up bringing it. It doesn't really have that great type advantage coming into my team. I mean, I don't really have much weak to fire, and its coverage moves are good, but I mean, it doesn't really have much to cover Latias or any of my dragons, and I'm sure it gets some rock move for Thundurus, but I was expecting Weakness Policy Entei with like Assault Vest Raikou or something like that, proc it with Bulldoze, or just use Clef to support it and support it with Tailwind as well. I was also worried because he could also bring he could bring the Entei, not max it, and then just Sacred Fire and start burning my stuff. So that kind of explains what I ended up doing here with my team. So here's my team. It is what it is. I decided my pretty much go-to lead was going to be Latias Aggron, because when you look at his team, he really didn't have much that I thought he was going to bring, that Aggron couldn't OHKO with Weakness Policy, Dynamax, any of these moves. I ended up going for Head Smash and Steel Roller over something more reliable like Rock Slide and Iron Head, because the difference in base power actually did make a difference. It took it from on a Clefable, Bold, Max Defense, Max HP, without the berry. Because if it's with the berry, it's never dying in one hit. But without the berry, the difference between Steel Roller and Iron Head is I think it goes from a 12% chance to OHKO to I think greater than 50% chance to OHKO with Steel Roller instead. So I figured I'd really only be using Aggron Dynamax anyways. So even though there's no way to set up the terrain, so if it wasn't maxed, it wouldn't have a Steel move. But it was going to be maxed most of the time, so I did that in order to get a higher chance of an OHKO on Clef, but that actually never even ended up coming into play. Moving on to Latias here. This is all scrambled out of order, but Latias was the next one I had set up for my main supporter. Tailwind, Safeguard, Icy Wind, and Surf with a Mental Herb, and just EV to be... Oh shit, what was it? It was EV to be faster than... Let's just import this to Showdown. Okay, so Latios is at 169. 162. What is 169 faster than? Okay, I don't remember what it was supposed to be faster than. But it was EV that way to outspeed something and then just put the rest into bulk. Tailwind because I knew he was going to get a Tailwind each game. I didn't really have a way to stop it, so I was going to fight Tailwind with Tailwind, Mental Herb to make sure if he went for Taunt, it would still go up. Then I had Safeguard in case he wanted to fish for burns with Sacred Fire on my Aggron, because my main damage duo this week I had planned to be Aggron. So if you burn that, that's really a way to kind of dampen that and stop that from happening. So Safeguard. Then Icy Wind, once we got the Tailwind up, I would still need a way to outspeed him because he'd have Tailwind, so that would be my secondary method of speed control. Then I had Surf in order to proc Aggron's weakness policy and also deal damage and break any sashes on his side. He ended up bringing Lapras, which was probably Water Absorb. Actually, I'm not sure what Lapras would have been. Probably Water Absorb for Primarina. But he brought Lapras, so I ended up not using Surf, and it ended up not really coming into play because Latias just died both games after setting up Tailwind. And Surf was also there in case, because it was originally Bulldoze to proc Aggron's weakness policy, doing less damage, and also do some damage to Entei and Raikou if he had brought those as a team, doing super effective on them. But I thought about it, and if he had led any of his flyers or had any of his flyers in when I went for that, it would essentially just slow my aggro down for no reason. So I ended up going for Surf over Bulldoze. Next up, I wanted Thundurus with Prankster, so I could stop any of his support options, mainly Clefable, and I could Eerie Impulse and Scary Face's guys. So typically, you would think Thundurus would run Thunder Wave. It's in the name. And I was going to, but after considering how fast of a threat Raikou was and how much I would need to be outspeeding it, you can't Thunder Wave an electric type, so I went for Scary Face instead, which is actually more accurate, so it might be more reliable. I might be using that more in the future, considering how well it worked this week. Scary Face, slow things down, Eerie Impulse, really just for Raikou to stop it from doing any damage, and Taunt to stop Clefable and Tornadus from having fun. Then I went for Primarina. Well, actually, I'll talk about Salmons first. I don't really know what the set was for. I calced it like a week ago, or I created it like a week ago, pretty much right after my week 2 game, and it was EV to do something. It would have speed tie with max speed Adam and Entei, but they never ended up coming into play. I didn't bring it. Then we have Primarina and Sceptile. So if game 1 didn't go so well, I was going to bring them as a secondary mode and actually use the pledge moves for the first time, but didn't end up happening. So with Sceptile, we'll talk about that first. Focus Sash on Burden, because Burden's always nice. And even after Tailwind, he should be the fastest thing on the field after a Burden boost. If my side doesn't have Tailwind, he does. And he has a max speed Timid Raikou or something like that. So we have Grass Pledge, Endeavor, Frenzy Plant, and Bulldoze. Bulldoze to slow his team down, proc my Aggron's weakness policy after the swamp goes up. Because after the swamp goes up, it's my side is faster, pretty much, period. Unless you have Trick Room, man, you can't overcome that quartering of your speed stat. It's so, I'd imagine it'd be super powerful. I haven't used it yet, but we will see. Frenzy Plant, just to do a lot of damage before it dies if it's 1 HP. Endeavor, if I would rather do, just bring something else down to 1 HP. And then Primarina for the other half of the Swamp Pledge. Hyper Voice, Moonblast, Water Pledge, Protect. Hyper Voice for spread damage, Moonblast for Fairy Stab, Water Pledge to get the Swamp off. And if I needed a single target water move, like if you had Lapras and something else, and I really needed to hit that something else with a water attack specifically, Water Pledge would end up doing more damage than Hyper Voice. And I brought the Wackin Berry, the Wakan Berry, to deal with, oh god. Excuse me. Man, it'd be times like this where I'd be, love to have some kind of editing software, but there we go. Wackin Berry to help with Raikou, and just kind of a generally offensive Primarina. EV to outspeed his whole team after Tailwind, or after Swamp plus his Tailwind, so that would make sure it would outspeed Raikou, or if everything's neutral, and then I can get a Scary Face off on Raikou, I'm guaranteed to outspeed it, even if it's max speed with this set. So, that's how things were. I ended up bringing only Lottie, Thundurus, Primarina, and Aggron 2 games. So we'll go through these real quick. Let's see. No music, please. Oh, wait. I gotta change my theme to the Cypher add-in from Pokemon Coliseum, because they had all the legendary dogs, and he had 2 of them, and I thought he was going to bring both, and it would have been fitting, but he brought Raikou, so it's close enough. So, starting off, game 1, he leads Lapras Tornadus, which I had not considered. I had an entire notes document of all my different possibility of his lead combos and what I would respond to with these 2. And I didn't even think he would ever bring Latias, and that kind of threw me off because I had done all my calculations for literally how to OHKO everything else on his team that I thought he would bring, but not Lapras. And Lapras has a ridiculously big HP stat, so I wasn't sure if my +2 Rockfall was going to kill it, or if I was going to need some kind of helping hand or extra damage, but Latias can't really do that because it has Icy Wind and Surf. Surf will heal Lapras, and Icy Wind will do no damage. So I was kind of worried about that, so I figured with this lead, he's probably going to go for either a Taunt or a Tailwind, so I would have to respond with a Tailwind of my own. And then I just wanted to take out Tornadus right away and set up Sandstorm because I'd be able to stop some of the damage coming in with the Sand, boost my special defense on Aggron. And if his Tornadus was Sash, I'd be able to check for that as well as knock me out anyways with the Sand, assuming he didn't set up Hail or assuming he didn't set up Water. Rain. So, turn 1 goes on. Dynamax Aggron, maxes Lapras, to be expected. And he tries to stop me from getting my Tailwind, but I get it anyways. So I think that, I don't know at Lapras' speed, that might have actually mattered to help me outspeed the Lapras. Because without the Sand there, that absolutely would have OHKO'd my Aggron. So now I have my +2 boost, he sends in Clef. So I get worried, I send in Thundurus, and he brought Ally Switch Clef, man. That's a dirty play, man. No follow me, just straight up Ally Switch. So I sent in Thundurus because I would need to be doing more damage to Lapras, and Latias is not going to be doing that. So sending in Thundurus to also help deal with Clefable and Lapras was probably a good play on my part. But then he goes for the Ally Switch, and Lapras is easily able to tank the Steel Spike, and go ahead and knock out my Aggron here. With a Max Geyser, set up the Rain, or I already have the Rain. But the Rain will help boost my Primarina. I do not get the KO with Thunderbolt, which makes me very sad. But I do get it with Moonblast, so that's definitely helpful. Not much really eventful happens this game. There's a lot of crazy RNG with crits and Thunder Wave, or Thunderbolt Paralysis and all that. So we'll go through there. And then he reveals himself to be Eerie Impulse, so that shows that he wasn't Assault Fest Raikou, which is what I thought it would have been. And that definitely makes things more difficult because now it's going to be able to hit me harder than it would with Snarl and cut my special attack even harder. And then the being Eerie Impulse, Thunderbolt, and I don't know if it ever showed its other 2 moves. I think there was a crit there. Yeah, critical hit on Latias definitely hurt. Re-Impulse, I hit the Protect. Hyper Voice does a good bit of damage. That crit definitely helped me out there. I don't think if I hadn't gotten that crit, I don't think I would have been able to win this game. Or maybe it did 50%. It would have been down to a roll, man. I don't like that. I don't like those numbers. It's scary. It paralyzes me, but thankfully, thanks to the Scary Face, I'm still able to go faster. And I'm lucky enough to get the 75% chance to actually hit. That is game 1. Moving into game 2, I think we have the same leads from both sides. And because he knows I have Mental Herb, we both just straight go for the Tailwind. And I think what do I do here? I Protect because I know he's going to try to, or I thought he was going to try to knock out Aggron in 1 hit. But he crits me and knocks me out in 1 hit. I don't know if the crit mattered there. He was able to go faster, so I didn't even get my Tailwind off, so it's off to a bad start here. Start getting dunked on. But it ends up working out. I don't really think paying attention to this game. What am I doing? So he has Icy Wind on Tornadus, which definitely helps. But after being in Tailwind plus Icy Wind, it's just kind of make sure that I will never go first again unless I have Prankster. But I can't do that because I'm taunted. So pretty quick off the bat, it's just down to Thundurus plus Primarina again. So I'll have to resorting to just kind of protecting and dealing damage where I can. And this move right here, that's what kind of seals the fate of the game. If he had targeted Thundurus with that Thunder, it definitely would have knocked it out. It would have OHKO'd Primarina, but thankfully the Protect was able to come in there and stop that from happening. I'm able to get off a Thunderbolt to knock out the Lapras. I get a crit there too, it probably mattered. And from that, it's just a matter of stopping the Raikou from killing me and being able to get enough damage off to knock it out before my Primarina gets sent down to -4 special attack, and it won't be able to do any damage there. Yeah, from there, it's just a matter of time to speed this up. Start spamming Hyper Voice and Thunder and Thunder Wave and all that fun stuff. Eventually, I'm able to take out the Raikou in the game. It's pretty close. Definitely a lot of RNG on both sides. And that Thunder onto Primarina really... I think we were talking later. He meant to target... He had clicked Thundurus originally, then he went back and rethought his move with his other mod and clicked Primarina on accident. And it was... that's a game decider right there. So, that was this week, week 3. I'm looking forward to next week, playing Steve again. I will have lost 2 times in a row to Steve, so this is... I'm going to put a lot of thought into it and make sure I can avenge myself from Season 1. So yeah, that's it. That's the game. That's the team builder. Informal, kind of just sloppily thrown together this week, but that's how it is. Alrighty, see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.